created equal. And, if left unregulated, they threaten to destroy the very fabric of American society. These drugs have some very adverse public health and safety effects. It's really about what kind of country we want to be, what kind of an America do we want to have, and to be able to pass on to our posterity.
Without your efforts, these drugs would have been on the marketplace, providing profits for organized crime, fueling a drug culture that has done so much damage to so many lives in our society.
The war on drugs seems to be based on sound bites. Drugs are bad, obviously everybody agrees on that, and because they're bad, we're going to fight them. What does fighting mean? It means you have a bunch of people with guns and helicopters going in and raids. Might make for good TV, but it doesn't reduce substance abuse, and it doesn't deal with any of the issues that America has with regard to drug abuse.
But is the foundation of America's war on drugs really built on protecting its citizens? Or is it an attempt by the U.S. government to exploit America's appetite for indulgence in an effort to further other, more secret agendas? At the dawn of the 20th century, a group of moral crusaders called the Anti-Saloon League believed that America was under attack by a deadly substance: alcohol.
Alcohol prohibition, when that was imposed, it was a time of great social change in the United States. The suffrage movement had really crested and reached a peak. Alcohol is a dangerous drug, and it was associated with a lot of violence, and a lot of that violence was directed toward women.
There were also those who opposed the consumption of liquor for other, less moral reasons.
At that time in American society, immigration was a hot-button issue. The concern was about Italian and Irish immigrants, and they were big drinkers. So the laws against alcohol were in part directed against those immigrant groups.
On January 16, 1919, the 18th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. The manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors was now outlawed by the federal government. But despite the watchful eye of Big Brother, liquor, like most forbidden fruits, proved too hard to resist. If you have something that some people in society want, and you do make it illegal, that there will be some kind of a black market.
We saw the gangland flames in Chicago and other cities in an effort to control the alcohol trade. We had a great deal of bloodshed and violence, not because of alcohol in and of itself, but because it was made illegal.
In 1933, prohibition was repealed. But is there a lesson to be learned from prohibition that can be applied to America's war on drugs?
What we learned from prohibition is very simple, that the government cannot stop people from personal habits. Prohibition created gangsters and alcoholics and solved nothing. The drug war is doing the same thing. It's a fiasco. They're twins from hell.
Ironically, while alcohol had been outlawed during Prohibition, one intoxicating substance went unregulated: marijuana. That is until Harry J. Anslinger, the first commissioner of the U.S. Treasury Department's Federal Bureau of Narcotics, decided to make marijuana public enemy number one in 1930.
Anslinger was trying to make marijuana illegal because he was concerned that his entire department would be eliminated during the Depression. Hence, reefer madness.
What do you want? Bring me some reefer.
He got behind this reefer madness campaign in an effort to convince the public that there was this terrible evil, this evil weed loose in the land that no one ever heard about, really.
I know what you want. You want to kill me? You're crazy.
Anslinger would leak stories about horrific murders allegedly committed by people who had smoked marijuana. Then he would go and quote the story when testifying before Congress. He goes, see how evil marijuana is? They reported in such and such paper.
Harry Anslinger convinced Congress and the American people that marijuana was a deadly danger to society. As far as he was concerned, it was a gateway to other drugs. In 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act outlawed the drug at the federal level, where it has remained for nearly a century. June 20th, 2012, Washington, D.C. Appearing before a House Judiciary Committee, Drug Enforcement Agency Chief Michelle Lenhart is asked about marijuana's classification as a Schedule I drug, alongside heroin and methamphetamine.
Is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
Heroin causes an addiction.
Okay.
It's very hard to kick.
So does that mean that the health impact of heroin is worse than marijuana? Is that what you're telling me?
All illegal drugs are in Schedule I, are addictive.
I thought she would acknowledge relatively quickly that, okay, well, marijuana is not as harmful as heroin. I wasn't even able to get her to acknowledge the basic scientific fact.
What it means to be in Schedule I is that there is no proven scientific medical purpose for the drug. And in the case of marijuana, while a lot of people seem to believe marijuana is good medicine, the fact is there actually isn't scientific evidence, at least I've seen none, that demonstrates that it is a safe and effective medicine for any purpose.
Sounds like the board fell over.
The federal government's official position is that marijuana is a dangerous drug with no medical value. That is tantamount to saying the moon is made of green cheese. There have been scientific papers in peer-reviewed scientific journals that address marijuana's medicinal utility.
Could the Drug Enforcement Agency's targeting of marijuana as a harmful narcotic be based on a legitimate concern for public health and safety? Or is there another, perhaps secret reason for outlawing the substance?
Marijuana prohibition is really at the heart of the war on drugs. When you consider the numbers of people who are arrested each year, totaling over now 750,000 in the last few years, if you remove that from the equation, you'd have a drug problem that seems awful small in the United States.
In November 2012, new battle lines were drawn in America's war on drugs, as residents of both Colorado and Washington State voted to legalize marijuana for adult recreational use.
Wow, that definitely smells like freedom. The Controlled Substances Act says that it's illegal under federal law to commercially cultivate and sell marijuana. So there's a conflict. The federal government's responsibility is to enforce federal law, and that's what the Department of Justice should do.
Estimates are that marijuana provides about half of the revenues for Mexican drug cartels. Legalizing and regulating marijuana generate tax revenues for cities and states, and save living and save lives by ending the failed drug war with regard to marijuana.
Could legalization and taxation really be the answer? Could America's war against drugs be so easily won? And if so, why then is the U.S. government so willing to invest billions of taxpayer dollars in a war to protect citizens from themselves? Coming up.